Hello and welcome to another edition of Knickerbocker Banter. I'm your host, as always, Harris Wishard. Today we have a very special guest, my great friend, Nikmoody. Nick, how are you today, man?
What's good, H, man? I'm good. Everything's good. Knicks are advancing in the second round. Let's get it.
Yes. Listen, we watched the game the other night.
Yes, we did.
Now at Kraft and Wantos. We're very excited about that. But honestly, we have a very special basketball connection, right? I've known you for, I don't like aging myself when I do these things, but, 20 plus years of great friendship. And when I moved to Long Island, I didn't know if I was going to find anybody that loved the game like me, that wanted to work as hard as me. And then I met you. And, right from the start, we shared that bond. And it was special. It was special because it was a lot of time put into something. And when you find someone that wants to go to the College of New Jersey sleepaway camp in high school and play basketball, and like I said, we've been synced together.
They threw us in the bunks, dude. They threw us in the bunks with nothing. No AC, nothing. Just like that. No sheets. Bring your own sheets.
The fans were the savior that week.
Yeah, for real.
No, it was awesome. And like you said, we played in middle school. It really started with travel basketball in sixth grade, and then going through middle school, going through high school, and then obviously college. So it is that unique bond that we shared. And for you now, and watching you work in your music career, because I tell people that I have a good work ethic and I love it, but then I look at how you attack things and have always attacked things. And what was it that you were able to take from the game of basketball and then translate now to what you're doing in music?
Well, I mean, you know better than anyone how, we were side by side for so many years doing the same workouts, the same AAU games, Not to brag about it, but we're very close to over 1,000 games played together.
Yes.
Well,
that's the number. That's the number you always talk about.
It's a crazy number, dude. Nobody had that number. Nobody. Maybe a couple guys that had an extended NBA career. Maybe.
Right.
Anyway. And you learn, when I look back on my playing career, it's like there's so many special moments. Basketball opened up so many opportunities. We played in Spain together, man. Like, that's not something that people can say.
Cherish that week that we had.
It was the best week ever. There was nothing better than that. You also look at things that you failed at. You know what I mean? I especially for me, where I look at, where I lost, confidence and when I stopped working as hard, you know what I mean? Where are moments where I could have worked harder and stuff like that. And you look at, why that was and what happened that caused it and how you could do better. And that's kind of how I approach music. You know what I mean? And I think that's what has allowed me to have a little bit of successes, because most artists weren't waking up at 6 a.m. for workouts. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know that schedule. It's a different mindset when you apply an athlete's preparation to music, and that's the way I've always looked at it, and to continue to get my confidence from my preparation. I know that's probably like a Kobe thing, if you look at it like that, but that's how I do it. You know what I mean? I'm very prepared for a show before I do a show, and I think that's kind of like allowed me to grow a fan base and continue to go at it and get better with the music. And now I have my own little home studio.
Yeah.
But,
the mic looks good.
I haven't figured out how to connect this to this yet, but I'll get
Listen, you know way more than me about this. I got people telling me about stuff I got to do, what I got to set up.
No, I'm like, already, man. The fruit.
Relax already. I don't really know, but listen, I take pride. And before I ask you a couple of questions because I love the basketball references in your songs, of course. And before we get into that, I take pride in so many people that I see from my past asking me how you are, because I told you before we got on, it speaks volumes, I think, to how close we stayed over the years, and just being that it was just, and I talked about the basketball side of it, but just staying close friends. It's not just basketball. It's that we stayed close friends. And so many people that I know in my life, many, more so than any person I can ever say, when they ask me how I'm doing, will also ask about you too.
Well, it's the same on my side, you know what I mean? And it's, we obviously played together. We went to high school together. We went to college together. Not a lot of people can say that either. But it's also like people from music ask me about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, how's your boy H? Because you're at all the shows.
Right.
You've always supported everything that I've done also. So it's like, it's a bond that not many people have. So you know, I've always appreciated it. We've been through a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of stuff people don't even know about. And you know, when I'm down, I know who I can count on. You know what I mean? And
that goes the same for you. Of course, listen, the ups and downs, I'll always make the basketball analogies. And because I talk about the Knicks so much and these roller runs, it's a game of runs, the roller coaster of emotions. You're preparing like Tim's. Nobody prepares like you. So, but let me talk about the basketball in the music. Let's get specific about it.
Hey Coach, my name is Nick Talby, and I'm a junior at Belmore JFK High School on Long Island. I'm a 6 foot, 165 pound guard, and I run a 40 and 4.7, and I have a 31-inch vertical leap. This is my video. It includes a drill set and footage from a couple of my high school games. I'm wearing light gray in one and dark green in the other, number 23 in both. Thanks, Coach, and I hope to hear from you in the future.
What happens to a dream deferred?
Check.
What happens to a dream deferred?
One time. I had hoop dreams, and they taught me about the true things, like how to pick yourself up by your shoestrings, and how to bring yourself down from a mood swing. I stand next to LeBron like now there's 2 kings chosen. I bet you think that I'm a failure. I bet you do everything that your mama tells you. I bet you think you're alive, walking in line, but you never even cried after G-Baby died. I'm serving tables just to turn the tables. The angel hair is from Naples, and we got herbs with basil. I'm so sick of the spiel at every meal, but it paid the bills so I can say how I feel. My ears ringing, I'm a little off kilter. They think that I've wilted. Tell them they gotta chill. Keep it 100 like Wilt. I know you think I'm a square. I know you do. But I turn into a diamond when you look with a tilt. There's something that you should know. There's something that you should know. I'm always true to the code. I'm always true to the code. Cause when it all falls short, man, I'm getting the shooter's role. There's something that you should know. There's something that you should know. I'm always true to the code. I'm always true to the code. Cause when it all falls short, man, I'm getting the shooter's role.
What happens to a dream deferred?
Shooter's Roll sticks out to me, obviously, because that song, unlike other songs where you'll drop a line about an NBA player or a specific coach, athlete, whatever it is, right? Shooter's Roll was personal to you in a way where you look back at what had gotten you there and how much you cared about the game. And then I look at, Dark Cloud that just came out where you're shooting into the ocean, which was real, and I'm sure you'll talk about that. And then obviously we'll get into some of the other stuff in the ciphers in the city later, but the basketball side of that, and does that take on a different meaning when you're making that opposed to any other stuff?
Like I said, we had dreams. We were irrational with our dreams. I think you should be.
No one more than me, I think.
Well, it is what it is. But and to be honest, I didn't get to where I wanted to go. You know what I mean? But you learn from that, and with a song like Shooter's Roll, that was so important to me. To cut up the high school footage and throw that in there and have people see, we could talk about it till we're blue in the face, but we did that. You know what I mean? I trained with Jay Hernandez, who's the assistant coach of the Nets. We were in it every single day, working our tails off to just get better, and we wanted it. And you don't lose that work. I think that people, just because I switched over to the music thing, that doesn't mean that didn't count. You know what I mean? That still outgrow me as a person. You know what I mean? That all those hours might not have been applied to music, but they still count to my 10,000 hours.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's you don't lose hard work because it's a dream. You know what I mean? It transfers. The energy of the universe will reward you for that. So songs like Shooter's Roll, I hoop dreams, and they taught me true things that you can pick yourself up by your shoestrings, and you can bring yourself down from a mood swing. That is my life. You know what I mean? I learned how to get through stuff playing basketball. You know what I mean? It's more than a game for people like us, and I feel like songs like that mean the most to me because that's just real. It's what it was. Nobody could tell me that. Anybody who knew us back then could attest to that.
And I've done just a few of these now, and this obviously is more personal to me because of my relationship with you, but as you're talking, I'm listening, right? And my mind, as I'm trying to pay attention to you, it's almost harder because I go back to this situation, that situation, the relatability there. And it's like, all right, I'm going to try to focus on what he's saying. Let me listen. But the reality is like the connection is so deep that, it really does resonate with me in a very different way. And we talk about the life stuff all the time because people, I think, have a very narrow minded, is it money? And was it worth your time? Like, I didn't make a dime playing basketball. Like, I never got paid to play basketball. And obviously I would love to get paid doing this one day coming up, but we have the 1,000-point balls. Forget about those for a second. It's just the relationships that I tell people about. That's what I get into. I say, I wouldn't trade that for a $70,000 contract for a couple of years playing somewhere in a different country. Like, I met some really great people along the way that people look back and say, oh, was that a waste of time? Was that, would you rather have gone to a different school and partied and done stuff like that? And I was like, you know what? I'm very content. I'm very content with the fact that, and you live that life as well, where just because something is not lucrative or didn't lead to something lucrative doesn't mean that it wasn't meaningful and doesn't mean that it's not an accomplishment too.
Well, just think about like when we went up to New Paltz, what was it? It's probably like 2 months ago now.
Yeah, January, a few months ago.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen those guys in years.
Yeah.
But we sit together at a dinner table and chop it up. It's like we're best friends again.
It was great. That was a great trip, man.
You don't lose that brotherhood, and that's something that I think sports in general is just special with. You know what I mean? I could say the same. Like a lot of you guys I met through sports. Like most of my childhood friends we met.
Not for basketball. We're not having the conversation. We don't have 20 plus years of it's just
exactly.
Basketball brought us together. There's no doubt about that. But you touched on something about passionate, if I can.
Yeah,
you had a quote recently. I don't know if you grabbed it for somebody. It was your own quote, but was it the universe? The universe. I shouldn't question you and your writing and whether it's authentic or not. But
well, it's dangerous. It's close to a lot of different quotes too.
If you went back and listened to the shows that I've done, I think passion and energy are probably two of the most commonly used words. Is because of this team, the Knicks team, and just life in general. Like I want to be around people that light that fire. And I don't know many in my life that do that like you. So, touch on just where that comes from or that quote and just now relate that to the energy potential we see in the Knicks or just people like in your life that you want to live like.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I did this. Like I was at a point in my music career where I was kind of stuck and I didn't know exactly where I was going to go or how I was going to navigate it. And I just decided to just combine all the stuff that I love. Like I love movies. I love, I went to school kind of for screenwriting and in this music scene. And I was like, let me make a music that's a movie that's set to my album. And that was like, and then I dove into it and I got so obsessed with like how we were going to present it and like social media with episodes and then that combine that into a movie at the end that's missing all the storyline that you didn't get while you were watching the episodes. And like I just fell in love with the process of it. And I think when I was writing this script, there was a scene where I was talking to what would be my younger son and trying to give him advice on like how to navigate life in the movie. And it was very meta in the fact that the universe likes to dance with the passionate. And I truly believe that. And I think that's why, Knickerbocker Banter will be successful because you love this. You know what I mean? We were watching the game. It was like we were playing. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, that's how I feel. I'm sweating during these games.
No, I've hugged you before, man.
Yeah, that was tough. I don't know how not to be like that,
But that's and I believe that though. I believe that you get rewarded for you get what you put in. You put in energy, you give energy to things and it'll come back to you. And you could look at the Knicks as an undermanned team right now and they're playing really, really well. Probably the best player in the playoffs right now. And you guys diving all over the floor, playing defense. And even when they're playing bad and they lose their offensive rhythm for a while, they hustle their way back into a rhythm. Not to make it like so like light basketball as we've talked about, but like when I see that, and it's always been this way,
when I see somebody that, because I talk about it as a coach, and you know this from playing for so long, like you were a very, and people need to know this, 'cause I've always thought I was a good shooter, but you were a very, very good shooter, and you were hard on yourself, right? Very hard on yourself, but you know that. So you didn't have a ton of 4 for 20 nights, but those do happen.
Yeah.
And I want to know what you're going to do when that happens. And I want to know if you could still impact the game. Can you fight your way back in? And you touched on that. And we talk about passion. And that's why I think this is a very, very likable group. It's an easy group to get behind. And it's bringing people together in a way. And that's why I'm going to lead into your cipher now. It's bringing the city together in a way, and New York together in a way.
Sidewalk talk, wait, side talk is crazy.
I listen. I'm not saying I'm not the biggest fan of it. Some of those guys are like over the top.
Well, yeah,
but,
of course.
but
like the Facebook with social media crap.
Right.
I still think it's hilarious. So
no, listen, it's fun. I'm not going to tell people how not to have fun. However, when you go outside MSG now, and you see guys dancing around, they're flipping the mascot up. He's doing the crowd surfing. That to me, I don't care if it's the first round or the finals. That to me is priceless. And because we haven't had it in so long, you know, and like I said, I relate it to life in a way. Like you want to keep breaking through. You want to work. And eventually you got to break through. Now they're starting to break through a little bit. You got to enjoy this, man. This is why you put the time in. This is why you've watched for all these years, right? And followed a struggling team. But just the cipher, because you had a video that went viral.
No, this is that hot cocoa. What's a local dude doing national Juan Soto? All of you's insane, you look like a stock photo. And my sword is really real, yo, wave it like Han Solo. I've been getting bread overseas, against the logo with Lil Caesars, but I'm just a dreamer without the promo. You rap over your tracks, I didn't hear you for like the whole show. They talk about finesse when it's touchy, what are you, Cuomo? Man, I think I gotta chill, though this anger that I feel, I'll never pay the bill. And I think I gotta chill on this anger that I feel. It'll never pay the bills, I think it will. Sip the leanest body's tail. 101 to 101. Got the skill of a DeVille. Tell me out, I got the gills. Tell me up, I got the stills. I might hit you with that fire boom bap. Screaming, this is not a drill.
Right, of you, and for the fans out there that don't necessarily follow rap or don't know hip hop as much, can you take us through the city experience and being on the subway and the cipher?
I mean, that's just the essence of New York overall, you know. And Steve Mules, the guy who created these ciphers, he's a videographer. He's worked with, you know, Russ and a ton of up and coming artists. He kind of put this together, and I watched it. I wasn't like a day one of it. I caught it in the middle. You know, when I went there was probably 15, 20 of us, and we were just rapping all day. And then as Steve got bigger, the ciphers got bigger, and more people started coming. And now there's like 200 artists and creatives that are pulling up, packing into this train. And people are trying to get on the train, they can't get on the train. You know, everybody is all positive, it's all love and supporting each other. And that's the thing that Steve really makes a point to say, is that he wants nothing but positivity, no bullshit, no gang stuff. Like this is about passion, you know what I mean? This is about
and the pure form, right? The pure form.
This is what New York is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hip hop started in New York, you know what I mean? It started in the Bronx. We're getting on the one train in the Bronx. We're taking it down. You know, this is where it started. And for a person like me who, you know, I'm a white guy, who might look at me and not know and consider me an outsider just by being around it. But if you know my background in basketball and, you know, I've always been a part of hip hop culture, because hip hop,
They're synonymous, yeah.
Basketball are synonymous. And, you know, I've been around rap my whole life. I just probably was playing so much or doing it until later on.
Right.
But, you know, it gave me an opportunity, you know what I mean, where I can get in front of people like that and do what I do best. And, you know, it really, it made an impact. And people now come up to me and be like, oh, you're that dude from the train. The dude from the train. Yeah, I guess so. You know, I don't, you know, it is what it is. But
no, it was great, man.
So New York, and that's why when people see those videos, not just me, like a bunch of us have gone viral from that stuff. And
right.
It's because there's nothing more hip hop than that. And it's in the birthplace, it's in the Mecca. And, you know, it's just pure.
And to talk about, and I enjoyed it, you know, a lot of people have texted me about it, right? They'll say, hey, I saw it, whether it's my cousin, my friend, right? I saw this, man, this person reposted it. but obviously I'm talking about the New York Knicks fan also getting involved in this run and having that energy, right? Where we haven't seen it since we've known each other. The Knicks have not played in the conference finals. So they're 4 games away from doing something that we haven't seen together. We've known each other for a while, but I know that just from being outside, people say it. I haven't really referred to it as that or talk about it like that. However, the energy, not to overuse the word though, is overwhelming. And I know that if it keeps going and if they keep winning, that as long as people are safe and not doing dumb stuff, it creates so much opportunity. I know you're a fan of Action Bronson.
I love it.
You talked about it before. He said something that when I first heard it, I was like, is that true or is that not true? And he said, when the Knicks are going like this, there's so many things in life that are better. People in New York work better. This is better. That's better. I'm like, I had to think about it for a little bit. And I'm like, he's right. Because the way I felt after the Game 5 loss was, I don't even want to go to work today. That's how bad I was. And then I'm thinking after the Game 6 win, I'm like, I can't wait to see people today. Like, I'm not saying sports should always have that much of an impact on you. But for some reason with this current team, it's like, man, everybody's just so damn
you just want to root for them. There's a lot of guys that, you wouldn't have expected to get to where they are. Jalen Brunson doing what he's doing.
Right.
So underestimated coming out of college after he won national championships. It's like, it's just a beautiful thing. And like, you got guys that play together in college. It's hustling all over the floor. It's just great. You know what I mean? You can't, if they make a trade, I'm going to be mad. I don't want any trade. You know what I mean? Like, you're hearing the Devin Booker talks, and I'm like, Dante, I'll freak out. Like that. Yeah. You mean, and it's like, because these guys, and they're not, Dante's not the bet. He's obviously, Devin Booker's a better player, but you don't want to lose guys like that because they just play so damn hard. They want it so bad.
Sometimes it's more than skill. Like, you go on the record and say, I know I'm not. And I know I could say this about myself, and I'm sure you could say this about yourself as well, because I know you're confident, but I never, thought of you as a conceited person, always confident, right? But I know I'm not the best podcaster in the world by far. Like, it's not even like a debate. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that. But if I could be as passionate as anybody, I know I'm going to end up where I want to be. So you could say the same thing. Hey, there's guys that are better than me. I know that. But if I want it as bad and I work as hard, I'm going to be in a good spot. So you could bring skill in. You could bring a lot of skill to this team, right? You could bring in 2 or 3 of the better players. It doesn't necessarily translate all the time because there is a proponent of this, an X factor of this that you're seeing now where it's like, OGC obviously fits into what they're trying to do, but there is this camaraderie, chemistry and passion that it is hard to recreate.
I know. And some of the names I'm hearing too, like, I don't know, like obviously Devin Booker's great. I don't know. He's had so many failed seasons with talent around him. I don't, and he wears a wristband on his left wrist. Like he's in the 1980s, dude.
Oh boy. Wait, I thought it was tape that he wore. I didn't even know.
Whatever it is. I don't like that he's dabbing it.
Oh, he's always going up like this?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I've told everybody that's gotten in touch with me about that, because I've gotten a few texts about the Booker in the offseason. I'm like, guys, look at what you're doing again, though, right? Like, think about what this season has meant, and we're always like looking for the next thing. And again, this has been a little bit different of a theme today on the show. I wanted to make it this way because of our relationship and how we talk about life now. But like, can we just be in the damn moment? You've told me that a bunch of times. Like, just be in the moment and stop looking ahead for just a second. Take a step back, appreciate what things are happening around you. And it's always the next thing. It's like, all right, people are already simulating the playoffs. They're like, oh, we'll beat this team and lose to Boston, and then we'll have to get Booker to beat Boston. It's like,
I don't even know anymore, man.
Who knows? What's that?
Porzingis isn't playing, right?
Yeah, but we don't. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like, let's just worry about game 1, and that's what this team does so well, because that's why you're able to recover from his game 5 is devastating. Like, if you're up by 6 with 30 seconds left on your home floor to close out the first home series in 25 years there, and you blow that, it's not easy to then go back on the road and then have to win a game. That's why.
And come out the way they came out.
Right. Up big.
Yeah.
That was a fun environment. And shout out to Steve also, because he's been a follower of both of us, and he's a supportive. He coached us. You didn't even play JV. You were a little better than me, but he coached us, and he was a varsity assistant too. But
I never not see that guy. He always takes care of you, no matter what he's at.
he's great.
And so don't worry.
He'll appreciate hearing this, because he also needs to know it's like those are the guys that you want around, and those are the people that you look up to. And like I said, he coached both of us. Just to have the Kennedy in there, and shout out to Paulino also the other night. Like, we have the Kennedy tribe, Drury watching with us. And then I had to move spots away from you guys after like the end of the second quarter, because I'm very superstitious. And then that worked out. But to me, that was just really, really fun. And even if they had lost the game, like I've had watch parties where they lost, and I'm like, it was so good to see that guy again, or it was so good to connect with him. And that's what, like, when I literally started this, and you, by the way, had a lot to do with me, and you're always pushing and saying, hey, I think you need to do this. I think you need to push it. And then you help me with the artwork, and you help me with this. But that's why I originally wanted to do it. It's not just because I want a career or want to talk about sports. I love the connection. I love, hey,
we open the floodgates with people, like,
yes.
And it's not like I think especially for you, you've been around the game for forever. You've been a notable Knick fan to everybody that I've spoken to. It's like hearing you talk about it online is not, it's like, okay, well, Harris that's how you talk.
Right.
It's like you always talk Knicks. Right. So, to me, it's just like, it's only gonna grow and get bigger, and good. And it's like you reopen the gates with people. You know what I mean, to communicate with, because
it's happened a lot. Yeah. No, that's been great, and I'm sure one of my favorite shows. Sometimes for you, like when I'm at one of your shows, and you'll come off, and I get critical of yourself to a point where it's like I know that's why you're going to get to where you need to go to, but like, I think sometimes that's necessary. But you'll come off and be like, oh, I messed up one word. And I'm like, oh. No one noticed that. No one cares about that. I don't care that you messed up a word. You look great up there. You're doing your thing. But the show that you had brought together everybody, there was a mix of college people there. There was a mix of high school people there. Your family always shows out. Like, that to me is way more important than a deal that you could sign or how much money you'd make doing it. It's like, look at the relationships that are coming back together. Look at who you're bringing together. And I know when you look back on it, you take pride.
For sure. And, that's, I've been focusing so much on content lately. I think I forgot about that part of it. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely inspired me to rethink that, because those were, I got pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
Just people, like, there was no reason why my college friend, my uncle, this another rapper, and some random kid from Wantagh are all hanging out in a photo like that. You're creating moments for people, and that's really all we have. If you really look at it, you know what I mean. We work most of us work our tails off all day.
And you can say ass on here. It's fine.
I can say ass. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
I think I had a slip before, so
you can. It's like Chris Childs asked that, and I'm like, dude, you're fine. No one's going to give you a hard time. I try to make it PG, but, in the playoffs, I've always said the intensity level, the intensity level in the playoffs is different. But yeah, continue on the impact, man. Continue talking about your family and bringing people together, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just, it's fun to look at people from different walks of life, and that you've known through different parts of your life, and how they interact. And sometimes I'll even see people hang out that met at my shows. I've seen that before too. I'm like, that's crazy. And you might not always even know, but like, people don't forget. They know when you met someone, and that could change the course of somebody's life, meeting somebody.
Absolutely. Well, I told you I wasn't going to get too sentimental today. I wasn't going to go over the top, but one of the main reasons why, not only because you're a basketball guy and love the game as well, that I wanted to bring you on, is because I think it's interesting for people to listen to and find out origin, right? Like, why did Knickerbocker Banter start, or why am I pursuing this the way I am, or why do I have the confidence to do it? And like I just touched on before, you're pushing me to start, right? Because I remember having several conversations and conversation recall about you saying, you hearing something and you're like, yeah, he should be doing this, right? Like, you'll turn to someone and say, like, this seems right for you, right? Like, you should do it. But not only that, but it was watching you be relentless, coming into your room and seeing the whole month laid out, whole year laid out, the amount of time that you're spending with it. And I'm like, he really wants it. He really wants it. Really, really wants to do this. And that to me is like, whether you're performing at MSG or wherever it is, wherever the performance is, the care and the detail and like we talked about the preparation where it's like, as we've said, that's the basketball that we grew up with. To me, like that is the work that we wanted to put in, because we knew as undersized guys, not jumping the highest and not, we knew that it was going to have to take that amount of work. So it was important for me to tell people, and I've told you this before, and we've texted and called about it and been in person about it, but it's important for people to know, it's like, just because we're not going at it anymore on the basketball court doesn't mean these attributes and life skills didn't translate. And for me, watching that and watching you deal with positive comments, negative comments, and just being able to just keep that level head and focus, it's had, there's no other way around it, no way to sugarcoat it. It's had a tremendously positive effect on me as a person.
No, I appreciate that, man, for real. I mean, better, man. It's not always bright skies on this side. I
got sunshines and rainbows all the time.
Nah, that stuff does get to you. Thinking that you should have got something or whatever. But like you're saying, like I could always fall back on, how my basketball career played out. And I could always remember that, if, at least for me, is like it's always when I lost confidence that I was, detrimental or didn't play as well, or I would lose the focus. And
right?
You lose the edge when you forget, what this is about, and you lose the grounded nature. That's always what I try to remind myself of, like, like specific games even that I think of where, I wasn't feeling that great. Somebody got to me. I stepped on the floor and I missed a couple shots and I checked out. You know what I mean? And now when that happens, when it's like, oh man, I put out a video, I put a lot of time and I spent a lot of money on it. It didn't do so well. Why didn't it do so well? Why did this person say this thing? And why they didn't share it? And you're like, well, what happened? And it's like, nah, that's not what this is about. It's that one, maybe, you said positive impact. If it's one person, it means something. You know what I mean? That's positive. You got to just keep on focusing on the people that support and stop giving energy to the people who don't. And it's easier said than done, but it's taken me this far, man. I don't think anybody thought I would get this far here.
Yeah.
When I first started, everybody thought it was outlandish and I was a player and, what is he going to do rapping? And, I take that that's a chip on my shoulder. I want,
you have to.
That I've always been a writer, that.
Creative person from the start.
This is not new. It's not different for me, just because it's different for you. You know what I mean? And I definitely try to prove myself as much as I can and get out of my own way. You know what I mean? I think.
Well, that was one of my favorite things when we were playing together was whether it was a missed shot or, let's just say, for instance, like I said, it wasn't very often where you seemed to lack confidence, but if there was a moment where before a game or during a game where I'd come up to you and I used to say things along the lines of like, who you are, like you know who you are. Like we need a Nick game tonight. We need A+ Nick to be there, because when a couple of shots rolled for you, shooters roll, no pun intended, I saw that, that look in your eyes. I'm like, listen, I looked at the other guy. He might get 25 this quarter. I mean, you're gonna be in some trouble, and just, different things that would get you going, because I knew how important you were to the success of almost every team that I played on, and one thing I always used to say is like, you don't want to chirp with them though. Like I always thought that kind of made you play better. You weren't afraid to pick up a tee once in a while. You just kind of had that edge to you where I'm like, listen,
sometimes you need that, man. Sometimes you need that, and that's something. You were always the guy who pulled me out of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, because I was.
Well, because I would get crazy.
Yeah, well, not even that, but I just was, a little bit more reserved, but at the same time, like played with the chip, right? Always played hard, but
People don't realize how you would run past the rim, like just attacking the rim in a way where if there was a pane of glass behind it, then you're shattering that shot.
Well, out of control at times, but always, people would talk about, hey, why are you dribbling so hard? Why are you breathing so hard? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know any other way. It's like that's why I almost stopped playing in like some of these adult leagues. I feel some of my abilities fading, and I'm like, I don't want to just spot up in the corner, guys, tonight. I just don't know how to not, and that's why. And you always bring it back to this Knicks team. It's like that stuff, like Josh Hart getting multiple offensive rebounds will always fire me up more than almost any play that can happen on this team. Because it's like, it's just, I want it more. It's that simple. Like 6'4", not the biggest guy in the world. Jumps, but not jumps, but doesn't jump like out of the building. He jumps, but he's not like that. How many dunks do you have on the year? You could probably count on one hand, right? Like he doesn't dunk a lot. So that's the kind of stuff that like really gets me going. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. And I posted on Instagram the other day, and I'm like, if this stuff doesn't get you, like for the guys that really love the game, this type of team gets you emotional about the game, because it's like, wow, this is awesome, right? Like I know I'm not even like trying to blow smoke or talking hyperbole. I'm like, this is as good as it gets. Like they might be a piece away to win a title, who knows? But this is, to me, as fun as it gets watching basketball.
I mean, that's what you want to watch. You want to watch passionate people being passionate about what they, but that's what entertainment is at the end of the day. I mean, that's what you've always done, and you did it on the court for endless amount of years, and you're doing it now with this, and it's like it's just gonna only continue to grow, because, like we said, this should be the theme of it. The passion. You know what I mean?
Well, we're waiting for your intro. We're getting it soon. Just be prepared. The people that are still listening at this point in the show, that the people that are close to us will listen throughout the entire show. Just know that I would love to have you incorporated in a way, because like I said, with your basketball references and your knowledge, and just
sometimes they don't age well, man. That RJ gets traded, it ruins my bones.
It's okay.
But it gets you a Barrett. And now on the Raptors now.
I wish RJ Barrett the best, but that guy they got for him, he's pretty damn good.
No, I'm not. It's a great trade.
Yeah. No, listen, and you need that. And the dunk the other night that set that place on fire with the one where he met Ed Beat at the cup, and maybe you could throw something like that in. Who knows? But I would never tell you, you know me, I would never text you like, hey, by the way, I know better than this too. Hey, by the way, maybe we could throw a line about Brunson, or maybe we could make sure you mention. I'm like, no. I trust that.
No ghostwriters on this side, man.
No, I would never. And you know what? I respect that process too much, to the point where like I'm trying to make this my craft, just like you have your craft. And I'm like, I would always listen to suggestions. I want to be an open-minded.
No, that's the thing. There's a difference between a suggestion and like
telling you what to. Well, again, and it also depends, I guess, who it's coming from, and what that person's done.
Yeah,
like,
if you texted me to put it in there, I would put it in there. So
yeah, no, and listen, don't claim to be a music writer or any of that stretch, but I think just to get to my point about the intro and just music and basketball in general, is like, I know by just talk, you know me well enough from when we had this conversation that you're like, oh, I know what he's looking for. I know what he's looking. I know I'm gonna make a Knickerbocker Banter anthem that resonates. It's personal, and it feels right. I don't have to question that, and I'm looking forward to it, is what I'm saying.
Oh man, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it this week. I have a couple beats in mind, so I got a cold bluff.
Let's get it done, man. Like I said, you should be, because when I look at these playoff commercials, and I'm thinking of like the commercials I've talked with the guy with Dance that I had on, and just some of the music I see stuff on MSG and all that other stuff, and I'm looking and I'm like, and then I think about the Yankee thing that you did, and I'm looking at, okay, this is the sports, this is the music side of it, and I'm like, this is him. Like, it's just a matter of time before the right opportunity, and it's just like you said, knock on this door, knock on that door, and just be relentless about it.
Just eventually things just fall into place, and I believe that, and you'll meet the right person. It's like, oh yeah, no problem, yeah, we'll sync.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. That's how easy it was. Okay,
right.
Exactly. And the same thing will happen here. You know what I mean? You'll somebody will see it. You'll see the right producer, and all of a sudden, you'll get a slot doing whatever, or somebody will give you a budget to do it on a bigger scale. You know what I mean?
So it is. I'm having a good time. I know you as as the ups and downs of music and the ups and downs of life, it's like you could look back and say whatever you want because I know this is true for you, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. There really is not a regret. Not only there's not a regret to it, it's like I can't imagine it any other way.
And this is like how I enjoy things. It's like therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When like, there's like two moments. One of them, when I write something that I really like, and I get into that flow, like that's the happiest I'll be. And when I'm on stage performing that same flow and I get attached to the audience and I feel them with me, that would be the second one. And it's like a high. It's like, hey, this is my high. This is what gives me life. You know what I mean? So, that's enjoying the journey and not the destination and, whatever cliche you want to attach to that. But just falling in love with the process, because if you're in love with the process, you've already won,
Absolutely. Well, listen, there's nothing that I'm going to face in my life that's going to be like a coach block practice. So, run it, any Kennedy people listening to this right now know what I'm talking about and how tough our high school coach was. The man back and you're glad. What?
Made us run suicides for a bounce pass without a ball.
Think about that for a second, guys. We traveled without a bat. He was calling people out for traveling without the ball. But I love him because I look back and I'm like, see, like some people would say, oh, he's too hard. No, like I need that. I need that. I need that.
Remember, I was getting thrown out of games left and right. And
needed that. I needed.
If you get a technical, you will sit the rest of the game. And it's like, okay, I'm not getting technical.
Yeah, exactly. You wanted to be out there. We needed you out there too. But then it's like, so you translate it to the next level. It's like all the 5 a.m. workouts, like you said, it keeps you on, a certain path. But when we're closing up here, let's just touch on the end of this series. And obviously, like we said about it is a Knicks show, but I wanted to make this different today. I wanted to take on a different angle. But now we're headed to the second round. And this is the matchup. And I don't know if you were following at the end of the regular season when like the Cavs were trying to lose to get a certain matchup, and the Knicks were like, we don't care who we're going to play. This is the matchup that everybody wanted initially. They were like, oh, I don't want to deal with Embiid in Philadelphia. We got by them. I don't want to have to worry about Butler. We know what he did to us last year. Now this is the matchup, this up-and-coming young Indiana Pacer team led by Halliburton that everybody wanted. I don't think we have to worry about them taking anybody lightly, but it's also not going to be a walk in the park either. I think everyone has to understand that as well. Like, they're not sweeping them. I'm going to come out right now and say that they're not going to sweep them. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't think that's going to be the case.
It's hard. I mean, so sweep a team is, we really only have one option right now. You know what I mean? When I come down to it. So, if he's not going, Dante's not shooting well, that could happen. But overall, I think they're gonna bully these guys a little bit, be physical. There's no other way. And I think they'll, Halliburton will do what he does, but they'll be fine. I think they'll take the series.
Well, yeah, and listen, I know your dad over there is going to be giving me a hard time.
Obi Toppin, that's all he's going to say to you.
Yeah, well,
if he has 30 Harris or something like that, forget it. He's going to blow you up your phone.
Yeah, listen, Justin was on the live yesterday, and he's like, who do you think Ricky's going to root for? I'm like, he's rooting for the Knicks, obviously, but listen,
he just liked Obi Toppin.
Toppin, I was a little hard on him on his time here. He's getting an opportunity a little bit more, I guess, than he would have gotten with New York. He had that good closeout game, but you worry about some of the guys on their bench, like maybe a McConnell, that the small guy that comes in the game and impacts the game.
They're scrappy. McConnell's scrappy.
Yeah, he's a pest. We've all played.
That's going to be physical.
Yeah, we've played against guys like that. We know how those guys are. But to me, as you said it, you're coming out of a heavyweight fight. That last series, and maybe Philadelphia got too crazy with it at times, but that series, excuse me, I'm just moving this over. I don't want to touch too much. That series was a heavyweight fight. That was, as physical as it's going to get. Indiana doesn't necessarily play that kind of way. They're more of a track meet, get up and down, shoot the three ball.
And that's why Obi Toppin's having some success. It's a little bit more suited for his style.
Definitely. So I'm interested to see how it plays out because they do have some threats out there and some guys that people are going to be introduced that they don't know yet. That people think about Siakam and Turner, but there's other guys there that will stretch the floor. So I'm optimistic that they will play in their first conference finals in the time that I've known you. and since, whatever, 2000 it is. And they played against the Pacers. And they also were eliminated by the Pacers. Everyone remembers the famous Melo Roy Hibbert moment at the rim in Game 6. But this Pacer team has caused Knicks fans nightmares before. We know about Reggie Miller. Because even when Maxey was going crazy the other day, everyone was like, oh, here comes Reggie Miller again, right? So I'm just glad all these rivalries are back. I'm glad Knicks playoff basketball is back. Because like we've said many times in the show, it does something for New York unlike any other sport. I know you're a Yankee guy, and that's no disrespect to any other team in New York. I personally just think the way basketball moves this city and the way the Knicks people feel about the Knicks, it's simply just different. And I look forward to it continuing. And I hope that we're having more conversations and more meetups with people. And hey, what are you doing for Game 2 of the conference final? Things that they're going to be a lot of fun for us, going forward.
Yeah, man. I don't always get to watch the games, but when I do, it's a good time. We had a great time the other night.
It was a lot of fun, man. Like I said, I hope that continues. And honestly, this was as fun as I thought it would be. And, always love catching up with you. It's weird because most of the time when I bring someone on, it's not someone I talk to every single day of my life. So, like I said, you continue.
Why are we on Zoom right now?
Yeah, go do a different way. Listen, like I said in the beginning, give me time to figure out the technology.
I don't mean like that. I'm just like, we talk all the time. It's like, why we're on Zoom now?
Yeah, well, listen, the last time I think I Zoomed you was during COVID when I missed all my friends.
Exactly.
But I'd love to sit down in a room and the collaboration part of this is because like I'm like kind of new to creating my own content and all that other stuff. But it's cool to just meet up with people, like I said, that are motivated, that want better for themselves. And that was an angle of it I didn't really expect. Not to say I would enjoy it that much, but just something I didn't really take in consideration when this was starting up. I'm like, oh, I'll just record 10 minutes of the Knicks stuff every couple of days. But now I'm like, oh, this is really neat how the connections are being made now and people.
It falls on a line in a way that you just don't expect. You know what I mean? And like I said, I truly believe it, man. The energy.
That's all it is, man. Energy and passion. We talk about it all the time. Nick, thank you so much. As I tell everybody that listens to this program, enjoy yourself. We'll be back throughout the playoffs on Monday. Game 1 is starting in a couple of days. This is coming out soon. So appreciate you sitting down with me today and giving me some of your time.
Nah, I love you, H. Appreciate you, man.
Love you too, brother. Talk to you soon. Banter will be back. Have a good weekend, everybody.